Biff. I have a wild Scary. You don't see it as often.
Hello.
Don't startle him. He runs off into the woods. You have to come
I
in.
don't.
You have to come gentle and slow.
Gentle and slow is how, I do like it. So that's how that works.
So, how goes the day for everyone? I'm very excited to talk about 40K. Today, we had a busy weekend.
Very busy. Custodes was released. Genius to the Call was released. I was up 8 hours straight doing live streams. 8 hours back to back. Did 2 4-hour long reviews of both books. It was fantastic. And I had McDougal on, I had Dustin, had Eric Trock for the Custodes, who's a big Custodes player, and Cathal from the Northern Ireland team, WTC team, the captain of the Northern Ireland team.
He's the captain.
So I had him on. He's a Custodes. He's a Custodes player. It was great to talk with some faction experts about the 2 books and kind of like what they had to offer.
Man,
so that was really cool.
I think Custodes are a little bit stronger than I thought they were going to be, and I think both books are very strong in their own ways. Some of the builds of Custodes feel like those guys are invulnerable.
Well, not only that, they've got a lot of sneaky shenanigans. I feel like they're going to shake up LVO specifically. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there that would need sort of like an FAQ. So hopefully we'll see what happens. I think they're gonna shake up what we think is normal in a very short period of time.
Yes. I think that you're going to see a better Custodes army come out the gate than a GSC army, because GSC has way more moving parts with crossfires and everything. So. I mean, I looked through the Custodes and I was like, oh, this looks like it's pretty good, and I feel like I can make a pretty strong army right from the get-go. What I actually think is going to show up at LVO, if you would say prediction-wise, is a Tyranids / GSC army that's very, very strong, because you basically take what you already know is good with Gaunts and Hive Guard and everything else, and then
add blips.
You add blips, but you add all that melee from GSC, which is actually better costed than the actual.
Yeah, Genius Stealer cult Genius Stealers, like those pure strains are murderous.
Yeah, and so, you lose the fight last if you do that, because you have to have a crossfire marker on somebody to use the strat. But just the pure power of them, and they have some serious move shenanigans. Oh, 3 inches and 6 inches and 8 inches. Oh my, there's some stuff in that book. After your 8-hour festival of fun with Gene Stealers and the Custodes, where are you right now in your thoughts on what do you think is going to be most relevant right now? What is going to come out of the gate?
I think Custodes are going to come out of the gate swinging harder. Mainly because everybody has like the Telemons and has all of the bikes sitting like grabbing dust, and because it's a very easy army to travel with. You don't need a lot of models to make Custodes work. And I feel like most people who have Custodes just sitting around in their house will be able to get a list and put it together and be competitive with it as well. Whereas with Genius to the Cult, like, Genius to the Cult fell off the wagon hard, like, for a long time. Well, so a lot of people got nerfed,
and we got a new edition, and neither one of those was kind.
And it was not kind at all. So like, if you see Genius to the Cult, I feel like you'll see that sort of like Muscle Beach style build that was very, very popular for a while, where people like already have all the models painted, so they'll run, the Aberrants and a couple of like Neophyte squads and maybe some like Acolytes or whatever with the characters built in. So I don't think it will be not seen at all, but I think like the most impact will come from Custodes, because people have been playing them already and practiced in this edition, and then they just got an upgrade. Right? There's a lot of cool combos. A lot of the stuff got better. There's some like cool tricks in the book, and people will have practice with it, which will make them more confident in testing a lot of this stuff out. And they'll start seeing results because they just know their list better than someone who hasn't played Genius of the Occult for, 18 months because they just
true.
were terrible.
Well,
right?
And that goes into, I think Hootie made a great comment, whatever happens when you put words into internet and things happen on YouTube. He made a comment. He goes, I think folks are sleeping on T-Suns. And I like that because of the fact that I think it's the same thing that we're going to get with GSC. I actually think GSC in the end is going to have a bigger hit, but it's the same thing that I think about Thousand Suns. I think the Thousand Suns armies that we're playing right now are significantly better and significantly better played because it's a very complex, lot of working parts army that goes into it. And I think the same things is going to with GSC. And I do think Thousand Suns have a lot of mojo. I actually think Thousand Suns are significantly better than I first did because of that fact. Because I think a lot of the initial armies were what they thought, boom, you grab the first thing that you thought was good. And then it really took a lot of play to start to get how everything works together. There's a lot of synergies that go into an army. So 100%.
Yeah. The more intricate the synergies, the longer it takes to have an impact on the meta in a lot of cases. It's like with orcs. Like orcs, for example, were a weird one where at first read, a lot of orc players were like, meh, you know what I mean? Like they didn't really, nothing really stood out. You know what I mean? And then after playing and seeing some of the combos that the orcs could do, like orcs have become a very relevant part of the meta, right? Where you have to plan for those crazy orc freebooters or now speed freaks
significantly different
or goths.
Well, you got to think
correct
in those two armies, like just those two armies right there, that goths kind of bully up in your face, double kill rig, multiple they kind of threat overload army, and then you've got that surgical volume of fire with the Def Coptas bouncing off the board, fire and fading basically, the OBSEC bikers, you just have lots of firepower, so it's hard to actually plan for the orcs because depending on what army shows up is a lot different on that.
No, 100%. I think Gene Steel Cult will be that way. The bottom on a Gene Steel Cult army, as we like to say, you've got the floor and the ceiling. The floor is really deep in the sense that it's not forgiving for newer players. But the ceiling, the floor will cave out on you if you're not careful. However, the ceiling on a Gene Steel Cult army, I feel like that's the stronger book for sure. The ceiling is way higher than on the Custodes because there are so many more options and we aren't even talking about adding in Guard and Brood Brothers and all that stuff. Like they've got some really crazy potential in that book, and the fact that I think in the long term that book will have more of an impact than Custodes. However, in the short term, I think Custodes will be the more relevant one.
Yeah, and I don't think they suck on that. They lost some stuff, but they gained a lot of things. So I wish that their katas worked a little bit different, but that's about it.
Look, katas can be confusing. You know what I mean? But there's ways to manipulate them. Who isn't going to take Trajan, first of all? And Trajan just manipulates them. Correct. You know what I mean? Like you just move them around. So you just have to pick the ones that you feel are going to be relevant for your game. And then there's stratagems and things that you can use to maneuver them around. Are they game breaking? No. Are there really strong ones? Yes. Are there ones that are terrible? Sure. You know what I mean? But that, it's good to have good and bad in the codex. You know what I mean? And it's up to you, the player, to figure that out and to use it as a tool and as a mechanic for the faction instead of, you have it, right? So you might as well use it.
For sure. Now let's talk about some tasty stuff. This is just for my own personal mojo. Let's talk about the fact that we have 4 combat patrol boxes for Tau.
For Tau or for 40K?
Well, for 40K in Tau. We've all of these. Look at all these.
There's 4 of them.
Sorry, 5. Tau Empire leads the charge as 5 combat patrols prepare to land. I think it's more than just Tau, but you've got so much stuff in here. Have you got a chance to unpack what's in these bad boys? Because I actually think a couple of these look like pretty damn awesomeness.
Well, Grey Knights, Custodes, Tau, Genius of the Cult, and what was the last one? Thousand Suns. I will say the one I'm the most excited about is that Custodes box. That Custodes box has like almost 1,000 points of Custodes in there.
It's jam-packed with stuff.
It has so much stuff. Like, that is such a good box. You've got bikes. You've got, like, the Vixilla. You've got Dude. Like, you've got Guard. You've got, like, it's just everything you need to start Custodes is in that box.
I like that. I think they have missed the mark in a couple of these, and I think they've hit it out of the park with a couple of these, because this looks like it really has enough to go, I bought this box, and I could start playing them right now.
Yeah, so. It is incredible. You just need like 2 of those boxes and you've almost got a 2,000 point army. You know what I mean? You just need like Trajan and maybe another character and you're like almost good to go. The Tau one is interesting. Like, we don't know what the Tau Codex has in it yet. You know what I mean? They've shown off a few things like the railgun, which, you know, whoop-de-doo. But, you know, that, like, you've got Ghost Kills, you got stealth suits, you got some strikes in there or some breachers or whatever. Like, it's a decent box. You got an ethereal and the other little character in there. So I guess we'll just see what their rules are to see like how relevant that box is, right?
Yeah, I like the fact that we're coming out with these though. I like that they're putting out at the same time. I would like to see the exact box for the Eldar Chaos. By the way, we've talked about it. I want to see the box. I need to see the physical box.
Probably made out of cardboard.
But it'll have a pretty picture on it. It'll have things that I want to see on that card
inside the box. Like, okay. The contents of said box.
Exactly. So I am psyched up about
that Autark though. Talking about Eldar, that Autark they previewed
there
today.
We go. I got you know what? I might play that. There we go. That's a little too loud. Sorry, everybody. As I blow everybody's ears off. Sorry.
That is spicy. You've got Autark with Warp Spider thing and Warp Spider cannon and whatever. Oh my goodness.
He's got 50 options.
The fact that they have options all of a sudden, you know, it's not like the old, like, oh, we only have this fine cast Autark that has like 1 weapon and 1 pistol and wings, and that's how you have to run him. That was like the worst thing you could do to a hobbyist. You know, especially after so many years of people playing with Autarks and being like, hey, we've got our super cool converted Autark with this gun and that gun and this piece of gear, and then go, that's not allowed anymore. And it's Legends now, you know? Yeah, that was like terrible. What are you doing? So it's exciting to have the Autark back and better than ever. I wonder what their rules are in the new Codex. You know, I'm assuming they'll do like a reroll once to hit sort of thing, like most captain style models.
Right, but they're Eldar. I hope he's got to have a command. He's got to have a command. Everybody gets a command powers of something. You know.
Well, he has like right now he has the thing where if he's a warlord, he can generate like a command point, right? Isn't that like what he does now?
On a 6, and it's only yours. He only gets to.
Well, that was what early 8th edition.
Early 8th edition.
So who knows? It'll probably have something to do with command points or stratagems. So we'll see. Like if I were to do a wild guess.
I'm very happy that they have so many options. I like the fact that the box actually is the Assyrian war leaders. You know what I mean? It's just saying that you can basically make this guy into tons of different things. You can get him up in the mix. He can be back in the back, you know, leading from back, get everything. But he can also, looks like he's got options with that Warp Spider Generator and everything else to just get into the mix, you know, do some close combat, maybe some short range firepower. I like it a lot. I think it looks really cool. I'm very excited for the new models. I really want some new Aspect Warriors. That's the biggest thing that I want is new Aspect Warrior models. Well,
the Banshees are anything to go by, and that striking Scorpion sword that Autark has, if that's anything to go by, like I cannot wait to see striking Scorpions and, you know, and like fire dragons. And then we had like a teaser for Malgun Ra coming out. So Dark Reapers are like an iconic, like kill. You know, if anybody's going to be excited about that, it'll be Sean Naden, of course, Mr. Sean, with all of his little Dark Reaper units everywhere.
Yeah, he'll buy 10 boxes of everything just to make 2 units somehow.
You know what? Yeah, he'll mix and match them. Be like, these are my Dark Reapers that can also be Fire Dragons. That can also be,
They all have capes. Everybody's got a cape.
That I green stuffed myself and put gold inside. and then free-handed, so they look incredible.
Question on this.
Absolutely. I'm excited about that
I do. I'm so psyched. I want a very dynamic. I got Snig sitting on the ready to go, rocking it out. I want to get some really pretty stuff together, but I want some stuff that looks very actiony. I've got a lot of old Eldar models where everybody's giving the Fonzie thumbs up and is very static and supposed to be the fastest.
Well, I think didn't we go over this last time? Yeah. Just like the pose, like, you know,
everybody does the sand people.
Yeah, this is my weapon. Look, it's the only way they can cast us. So, oh my goodness, so funny.
I want to ask you this question that was asked in the chat here. How do you guys think the new Custodes compares to other simulated super durable lists like the Deathwing Spam? Which list has more play into the current meta? What are your thoughts on that? Because I actually think the Custodes are going to be a little bit better because one of the things that's durable is their fast units. And I think that was one of the biggest problems with the Death Watch, or not Death Watch, but whatever, Deathwing, is that they were so slow. So
you could have just said chaos. That would have also worked. Yeah. That joke never gets old, internet. Ever. I agree with you. I think it's the speed, right? Because in terms of what's OBSEC, right? Like all of the infantry in the Custodes army is OBSEC, right? That's not like Sisters of Silence. But then you have like the bikes, right? Or the Venatari, which a lot of people have been using. As of now, Venatari don't have the katas yet or whatever, but I'm assuming that'll get updated and kind of brought into the fold. And in terms of durability and like shooting, I feel like Custodes have more versatility, not necessarily because of the fact that they're just like as durable or a little bit less durable than the Deathwing because they don't have the auto transhuman all the time. But that, like, the ability to use speed, like Bike Captain, bikes, shunting Super Terminator Captain guy, right? It allows them to secretly, or like stratagem to literally teleport your Terminators to the banner anywhere on the table on the same turn. Like, it just makes them able to play the game better, if that makes sense. Whereas,
100%.
Like, you know, Deathwing are this is where my block is. This is where my, this is where my objective is that I have to keep all game. And once you know that, it's a lot easier to sort of like play around them, right? Where Custodes it's funny to say they have like more flexibility, but they are more flexible. You know what I mean? And they punch a little harder too. They hit on twos all the time. They've got some really cool options with like a lot of the strats, and then you put in the Sisters' ability to like pre-game move and super flamers and anti-psyker support and like negative modifiers to hit and taking away your OPSEC, which is like crazy powerful, not just like needing a psychic power to go off, but like literally just running a little like lieutenant up to within 3 inches of your big blob of Terminators, me like, you're not OPSEC anymore. Yeah. You're just within 3 inches of me. So my one captain takes this away from you.
100%.
It's like, that's incredibly strong.
I have a story for you, and I have a thought. So let's say, for instance, I don't know, Lyle was the ringer at the Glass City GT. So I had an army for him for the ringer army. And unfortunately, Mr. Sniggs, the tournament organizer, went, your Salamander army is like packed under a couple things. I didn't really want to get it. So I brought Knights, and I'm thinking he's going to bring a little bit of Knights. No, he brings a devastating Knight army. Lyle plays the ringer against someone that was getting the bye and puts one of the worst beatings I've ever seen put on anybody in a tournament. I go, what are you doing? He's playing next to us. And he's like, he asked me to play as hard as I can because he wanted to test how his army plays against this. I go, you're the ringer. You're not allowed to put a vicious beating on the person you're playing.
You can put a vicious beating on. Like, as a ringer, as a tournament organizer, as a ringer, my opponent's going to win no matter what. They get, like, the win.
Right.
But they can, if they get more points than they would by being the ringer win, you know what I mean? Then they could keep the more points, if that makes sense.
I got you on that.
So you still play, you know what I mean? But, getting beat down by the ringer, as long as the ringer doesn't physically win and put in a win, then I'm fine with that.
Yes, that is 1,000 also %. If you're the ringer, you are the courtesy game. You are the fun guy.
Correct. You can bring a hard list, but just have fun with your opponent, and you don't care about winning or losing because you're not winning anything.
Yeah,
Like you're literally
give that the look again. You are not winning as the ringer.
You're not. No, you shouldn't even use your real name as a ringer. You should put like ringer chicken dinner or something. Like you're not even getting ITC points for that.
That is the fun thing. He was also a war room member. Don't know if it makes it better or worse. I literally had to take a moment. I'm still playing, and I look over at the game, and I look at both of them. I go, what is even happening over here? Also, they played on this board because we were playing Hammer and Anvil, and the way that the terrain happened to be set up on this board, there was just these long shooting lines, and he was playing the Knights versus the Necrons, and the Necrons were just sitting there, just, oh, go ahead and shoot me again. And he did. And then he shot him again. And then one more time to make sure he was dead. He followed the rules, double tap, you know what I mean? Put in the cardio, so it was there.
Excellent. That's how you play Necrons on a open board.
Dude, they were just getting, there was so many finishing moves being put on the Necrons on that board by the Knights. It was
like watching a fatality happen in real time.
Yes, it was definitely XXY over, up, down.
Pulls the skull out with like the spine attached. Fatality. Another cool release that just happened was a new box set for Age of Sigmar. Like I know we talk about 40K today, but there's some Age of Sigmar stuff happening, and a lot of Age of Sigmar models can be used as 40K models. So we like talking about them.
You also forgot about the new Goblin Blood Bowl player.
Oh, that's right. The dude. No, they did two. One that has like the little beaky helmet, and the other one that's spinning a spike ball or something.
Ball and chain. He's awesome. You know what? I'm bringing him up. I love that guy.
He's a fanatic, right?
Yeah,
isn't he like just supposed to be a
wrecks
fanatic?
Everything. Yeah. It's fantastic.
I would not want him to be on the opposing team. That just seems dangerous.
Oh no, he like literally has the chance to ruin your day. Just ruin your day.
Leave it to the goblins to play by the rules. Silly goblins.
But
I'm outraged and disappointed at the goblins.
And I do love the fact that the other goblin, of course, doesn't come with a ball and chain, but he brought a bomb. So
I'm going to take the ball, and you can have this instead.
Exactly.
It's a bomb. Blood Bowl is one of those games where it's super fun. And if you're like an orc, like you imagine using one of these models as Makari, like an orc list, like just a lucky orc from Makari, to like hang out with Gazgul or whatever.
Oh, this is a great model.
Yeah, it'd be so cool.
1,000%.
He doesn't need a little banner, but he has a 2-up invulnerable save because he's running around with a bomb. That's how I like it.
I mean, sometimes you got to bring the bomb. So
that's orc. That's goblin thought process for you.
In the chat on this, how well does Art of War think Space Marines will do at LVO? What kind of archetype? I think Black Templars will do the best.
Yeah, that or I feel like there's some play for the Deathwatch specialist Army of Renown.
The only
to be honest,
they have to get so close though. That's my only thing with them.
They do have to get close. However, out of all the Space Marine chapters, I feel like a good player that can pilot them well will like pull some shenanigans because there's some crazy stuff
there's some super shenanigans you could play. I think that what's underrated though, depending on how you can set your board up, because it's player place terrain. The Iron Hands right now are very underrated as Marines. They have the character Dreadnought. They of course have exploding wounds. That Achilles Land Raider in Iron Hands is like invulnerable with the Iron Stone and the +1 to its save, repairing it all the time. I mean, that army has play. I think it has more play and difference in depending on the mission, but I think that is an underrated army.
Yeah, that Achilles with the quad meltas and basically the Thunderfire cannon that it has like on top on the front with an invulnerable save built in, which we know is one of the reasons Black Templars are so good. You know what I mean? That all their dreadnoughts just have invuls. You don't need a librarian to like support them or anything, and they have like mini transhuman everywhere. And then of course their super unkillable Chaplain of Doom. So, like, I feel like that, like, you're still going to see the White Scars show up. You're still going to see the, like, with the amount of, like, there's good players going to LVO. So, like, the Space Wolf player, like,
Yeah.
like, the Space Wolves will be up there as well. Like,
I
they're
mean,
all going to be, there's going to be in contention. Just which one will be the best. I think it'll come down to best player, to be honest.
I think it'll be best player, but it's also going to be very matchup dependent. Like Space Wolves are so good into some things, and they're so not as good into other things. It's like
Mm-hmm.
they've got some swingy matchups. You're like Space Wolves go, oh, I see you brought big stuff. And I brought 4 damage characters that get a double exploding 6s with full rerolls, and I punched a hole in you. Again, Mortal Kombat style. And then
Yep.
you're like, I run away from you a lot and I volume shoot you. And then they have troubles with that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So that's the thing. Like in terms of Vegas is such a big event that you can. There's always going to be that random person that shows up in the top 8. Like every single year, there's like one random list that probably shouldn't have made it that made it. You know what I mean?
And it's because so many people, yeah.
Correct, and because their matchups just ended up putting them in the top of the bracket system. Like in this year, like if anything, I would be like Sisters of Battle. They've got some crazy good play, especially in player place terrain. You've got the different Space Marines. You've got Black Templars, which are probably the strongest. But you've got Iron Hands, which are like an outlier and very popular in Europe, right? Where you see them do consistently well.
UK, they've been killing it.
Right. You've got the White Scars, which are still good, or just any of the chapters that use sort of like the +1 to hit when you charge and exploding 6s
Angels,
in any
White
combination.
Scars, all of those things.
Even Raven Guard in some cases. I've seen some crazy people playing Raven Guard with like a big block of 10 Terminators. You can like pre-game deploy up in someone's face and like get the +1 to wound on their lightning claws. Like there's just lots of different builds that you can sort of like build around for Space Marines specifically.
I think that you're going to see. I think that Space Marines and the melee versions of them are going to do better at LVO just because of player place training. You can literally make a safe spot for yourself, and then you have another spot. You can basically stage your first 2 turns of play
without having to commit anything.
Right, and it's very, very big on that. It gives you a lot of options. So I do think that they'll be doing fine on that. What are your predictions on that? What do you think? We talked a little bit about top 8, I think 2 weeks ago when you gave a little bit of prediction. Have your predictions changed now that we know that Custodes and GSC are going to be?
If there's a good GSC player going, I think GSC is going to be at the top. Like because they have so many tools to win the mission, and you need like even against like Drukhari and stuff like that. They've got so many good tools.
They have manipulation. They have so much manipulation.
Yeah, I think Crusher Stampede will be up there if they're going to be allowed for the event. I think their rules came out on time. So I could see Crusher Stampede, Gene Stealer, or Gene Stealer mixed with Crusher Stampede, like not with Crusher Stampede, but with like the Leviathan stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like I could see that being at the top. Drukhari 100% I could see being at the top. Like they're just so good right now. I could see the Goth Orcs really making a storm, and I could see some sort of Space Marine up there as well. Maybe Custodes, but you need like a good Custodes player, and they haven't really received any updates to their Forge World stuff. So, and that's a lot of their killing stuff comes from Forge Worlds
because you won't get all the keywords won't be on the Forge World stuff until after the event.
Correct. So the Forge World stuff is good. The Venatari is still really good and whatnot, but we don't know if their points are going to change, if their keywords are going to change. Telemons are still strong, but they're not core. So a lot of the stuff interacts with core now, and they don't get katas or anything or whatever. I don't think the Dreadnoughts do in general either. But yeah, I think it's just going to be a very top, like I could see a mixed like Eldar Drukhari list going to the top, like Sean Naden deciding to run like his run of the mill, Harlequins and Eldar and see what happens there, or maybe his MSU Drukhari, So there's like 1,000 people there, so who the heck knows? To be honest, like somebody could come out of the woodwork like Don Husin, and I'm running 30 Death Guard Terminators, and all of a sudden he's at the top. You never know.
I could see McDougal doing well. We had that in chat.
It
He's
with
a,
GC cult?
yeah,
Hell
he's
yes.
a fantastic
Heck
net
yes.
player, and
Yeah, oh yeah.
he has been very sad until Leviathan came out, and then he started killing folk, and then you get even more stuff with GSC. It's
Yeah.
really really good.
Silly combination. And someone with that sort of practice with a faction, it's going to be dangerous. So those are the kind of things you want to really look into when you're like doing matchup predictions. But that's the thing, 2 new codexes so close to an event. You have maybe one event you're going to see next weekend before like the event, or maybe 2 events, right? Like you might see them maybe do something so you get an idea of what they're up to,
Well,
right? But
I mean, they're not even legal until next week.
technically, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so they're going to show up, and you don't know what's going to happen. It's like you're literally throwing this brand new book into the mix, and you have no clue. Like we do not know how much of an impact. Maybe some crazy busted Broviathan style combo build. You know what I mean? Like John Lennon is like a Tyranid Gene Steel Cult player. You know what I mean? Like him taking Gene Steel Cults or Tyranid Gene Steel Cults would be crazy. You know what I mean? Like he would pilot that stuff really well.
1,000%.
So, yeah.
So much is so much.
Curious.
Is there super potential for Custodes? I don't know, because while we didn't say the katas are over the top, it would be hard to you do miss them. And there's some big things.
Unless you run the Astra Cartographa, right? Like the rogue traders, which are agents of the Imperium. Like you could kind of mix them in.
Exist, yeah, because they wouldn't break.
They don't break any of your soup stuff. Like they're really useful because they've got some cool strats like making OPSEC stuff or whatever. The thing is, at that point, you might as well just be taking more Sisters of Silence, right? And they kind of work synergistically within the book, and they fill a very similar role. So I don't think you want to soup the Custodes unless you want to take an assassin or an Inquisitor or something like that, right? But I feel like you're just better off running the Custodes as Custodes.
Probably, tell you the truth. We'll see. I mean, this is all coming out right now. Again, not even officially out yet. We have, 6 days until they're actually really out.
We're talking about it like it's technically in everybody's hand. It isn't.
It isn't. Yeah.
You pre-ordered it on Saturday.
Right. You don't officially get your stuff until next weekend here.
Yeah.
So there's that. So we're making predictions on something that's not even out, not even really out yet. So
correct.
But
that's what we do. We like staying ahead of the game here, because that's what 40K today is about, worrying about what's coming out tomorrow.
Well, next 40K today will be me with dark circles under my eyes after I spend 48 to 72 hours gaming over the weekend while I'm in Florida, trying to figure out what I'm submitting on, what is it, Monday? I don't even know if it's Monday or Tuesday. Hopefully I put my army in at the right date for LVO. That'll work too.
Put them through the ringer. I love it. I'm sad that I can't make it to LVO this year. I really want to go, but things are not panning out. However, I'm wishing all of you the best and the goodest of lucks, when you go. Yeah.
I appreciate it. What do you have going on? What do you got going on this week? Tell me about your week.
My week? This week? In 40K today? Oh, man, I feel so honored. Well, I go to Mini Wargaming today, and I'm going to be doing some filming there. Probably going to do the live stream on Wednesday, just filming 40K.
I mean,
and then I come back.
You've got purity seals behind you. I had to ask.
Oh, this stuff? This is just an old banner from our game group from back in the day. I just needed a backdrop because...
there is purity seals. I'm just saying.
There is. My Black Templars will be played. I love my Black Templars so much. And although a lot of people want to see me play Craft Worlds, because not a lot of people are playing Craft Worlds right now.
I played Craft World over the weekend. It is on hard mode.
It is on hard mode. I've lost almost every game I've played, but I'm playing like even not an optimized Craft World list. And I've only lost by like 1 or 2 points. It's been really, really close, but it's definitely not a forgiving army to play right now. And then on Thursday, I've got coaching calls. And then on Friday is my crazy big coaching call day. So I'm just busy with coaching and calls. And then this weekend, it's family weekend. So just hanging out and relaxing. I was going to go to a GT, but it got canceled thanks to COVID. And I was really excited to take my crazy real space raid that is busted. It's such a good list, and I love it. And just maximize on using lots of grotesques and talos. because why wouldn't you want to do that? Because it's amazing.
I mean, they may have reduced the points on those and made them a
I
taste
heard,
to
I heard,
train.
I heard that was a thing. Although that test of skill, Succubus with the triptych whip, is awesome. I love her so much. She went into like a tank and did 16 damage to a tank yesterday. Just like ripped a tank in half. It was fantastic.
I I played with Harlequins and Craftro this weekend, and I loved the Harlequin characters, and I kind
Yeah.
of hated the rest of the Harlequins.
The characters are great, especially that darkness bite or whatever. Jump out of a transport guy.
Yeah, he was nuts. The fact that he was doing backflips back into transports, and then you were using 2 CP to take the solitaire and bounce back and rerolls all over the place. And then the actual troop players went out and went, "Hey guys, pew pew, nothing happened." We get out. You're like, you guys are so disappointed. I'm not even mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, you need 5 fusion guns. Do nothing. Okay, another 5. Do nothing again.
Yeah, they were not the MVPs. The characters, however, were amazing.
Nice.
Good day to you. And it still have fun. You know what? For LVO, it's going to be tough for me to go back to Dark Eldar because I have been having fun playing in all phases.
Yep. You know how I've been playing Dark Eldar recently? Put everything on the line, run at my opponent at full speed, and table them. That's how I feel like I've been playing Dark Eldar recently. I feel mind numbed.
Tactical
like
albatross.
Completely numbed.
Yeah, it's hard going from an army that plays every phase to an army that plays 1.3 phases. Because it literally goes, I
move, I punch.
Yeah, and it does have some guns that you're never gonna fire.
Yeah.
I mean,
every once in a while.
Heat lances are nice. However, most of the time, you're like, I'm going to advance to make sure I get here. So,
yep.
And if you're firing the heat lances after you advance, well,
I did try the gauntlets, though. I tried the Talus gauntlets.
How'd you feel about it?
Okay, so first combat, I went into like a 3 wounded unit of Scorpex and murdered them all. So that was really good. You know, like it was just very easy to kill them. And then for the rest of the game, I rolled so many 2s to hit. I was so frustrated. Like all I could see were 2s. I was like, this -1 to hit is driving me nuts. Well, that was how I felt.
Can understand, my friend.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into talking about. I was about to say, I actually, that's all I have to talk about. I just looked at my slides and everything else. That is it.
Nice.
Everyone.
That's it. We talked about AOS. We talked about the new stuff coming out. We talked about the Autark. We talked about the combat patrol boxes. We talked about LVO coming up.
Autark.
That's some really cool. We talked about all that stuff too. What we're doing this week as well. And then stay tuned for more awesome content. Of course, if you're not a War Room member yet, make sure you check out the War Room, where we have exclusive videos, exclusive live streams, the clinics that we do for factions every single week.
Brad's Road to LVO.
That's right. That's right. Your Road to LVO, which you've literally been doing like a breakdown of how a top player like yourself prepares to go to a big event and like the steps that you take to like make sure you're ready and good to go. Of course, if you'd like coaching from Brad or someone like myself, make sure you head on over to theartofwar40k.com and check out all the cool services The Art of War offers.
And on that, I appreciate everybody hanging out with us, and we will see you soon.